Everyone. This is our third and final session of Orbital, the Belong As I Belong game by Jack Harrison. My name is Donna, my pronouns are him. I am playing Hemlock, the Shadow, a concealed individual working towards a secret mission, they, them. And I guess last time on Orbital, we saw them do an unscheduled, unsurveilled EVA to chuck a nuke at a warship of one of the warring factions in our universe, which we are all too happy to stay neutral from, right? And then show up at a cafe um, because I like to help out my friends, definitely. um, Puckett, why don't you introduce yourself and the mess you're currently experiencing in character?
I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Cash only. The joke is Cash only because she deals in favors and information, and you owe me one, and I expect you to do something for me when I call and say this needs to be done. She, her pronouns. And she keeps getting blamed for the unscheduled rapid disassembly of the warship that Hemlock chucked a nuke at because Hemlock wanted a data crystal and Cash just didn't want Hemlock to have it taken away from them and was saying, not here, not in the wide open. Let me give this to you someplace a little bit more discreet. Hemlock, of course, just decided, fuck it, I'm going to blow the entire thing up and commit mass murder. So, there's that. Also, Hemlock's old partner is apparently searching for them for some reason. And that's why I'm in this cafe and why I need Hemlock's help, because apparently more of Hemlock's bullshit is coming back to my doorstep. So, thanks.
We're accumulating grudges like there's a shortage. There's an upcoming shortage. Hoarding of grudges. Okay, thanks, Puckett. Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Rye, who uses she, her pronouns. She's not a human character. She is a Kamano species, which is a type of kind of amphibious alien, and is the owner of Whiskey, which is a bar on the Oteral station that we're all on board. Last time, one of the things that we went over was discussing some of the different factions and what they wanted to have happen to the irregular apocalypse, which is the ship that Hemlock threw the nuke at. So really what they wanted doesn't matter because almost none of them got it. And I think that one of the last things that happened last time was Rye had visited, before coming back to the cafe, Rye had visited the star-crossed lovers who are hiding out on the station from their respective governments. The respective governments are called what again, folks?
The host and the Republic.
The Republic, yes, yes. Yeah, and so that was a host ship, right? The irregular apocalypse out there was? Okay, great. All right. So, yeah, that's what I recall.
Do you also recall telling them to leave the place where they were safely secured and go wander around, putting them directly in the path of Hemlock's former partner?
Well, I got to get a token somehow. So, yes, I did do that. I suggested that they go and seek you out. Was that it? Because you were hiding them?
I believe so, because they were concerned because they hadn't heard anything from me, and I had already
Yeah.
basically said they walked into the cafe while Calla was in the bathroom, and I had basically told them, What are you doing here? Get back to your. To the, oh, get.
Whoa.
So yeah, basically everybody is screwing with my business at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, do you want to start us off before things unravel or escalate even more, or what do you feel like?
I mean, um, I think that this is what happens. So, do we have Hemlock coming to the whiskey, where Kala and um and I'm sorry, Cash are currently kind of like ensconced.
I thought we were at a
I
different cafe.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought it was on
oh,
like a different. Um, yeah, I thought it was like a very very different establishment, like further into the station. Like,
okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
more neutral ground,
yeah,
as opposed
Okay,
to a place where I've got a shotgun under the table.
right. Um, I think that she knows that so Ryan knows that she's made kind of a mistake, and she's trying to smooth things out with Cash. So she is working on um procuring the help of an old ally with a formidable skill set to get these kids off the station and maybe out of the sector entirely. Sector, whatever we're going to call it. So we see her at the whiskey when her smuggler friend arrives, and we see she and the smuggler friend, who is a human female, um, with very short, stubbly hair, and a neat appearance to her clothing as well, having a discussion. And I think that we see them then set off to try to find Cash, to let Cash know that we've got a plan. Does that work?
yeah. What's your smuggler friend called?
Well, my smuggler's friend name is Glup Shito.
We'll
God
have to
damn it.
work it in somehow, right? You happy to just spend that, or do you want to have a scene where we see that kind of play out and you
Um,
exert your social power?
no, I don't think. Yeah, I think we're just good with the spend, and I don't think we need to. I'm just looking forward to um, introducing her to Cash.
You're just
Uh,
excited about saying glove shitto, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, I am.
I'm glad that this moment could bring joy to your life.
and you're sending her to whatever restaurant we're about to
Yeah,
mess up.
Rye will accompany her there. Yeah,
Okay.
she leaves the whiskey in the capable hands of her subordinate, who is Lala.
Should we have a name for this cafe? Because I can't remember if we named it or not last session, and I don't have it in my notes.
I don't recall that we named it.
Ooh, how about uh Half-Life or Fallout or
You want to name the cafe this, and yet Deep Shit 9 for a station name was a bridge too far. Okay. Honestly, seriously though, I am totally cool with calling it Half-Life or something like that. Um, you know, Fallout less so, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
What kind of place is the Half-Life? Like upmarket, dingy noodle stand, like, or
I kind of feel like it might be the space station equivalent of like kind of a not newly renovated Starbucks. So there might be some tables and there might be some chairs, but they're not intended for, it's obviously uncomfortable seating. It's not intended for people to sit there for hours and hours. Might have like a light menu of some basics, maybe noodles to go along with whatever equivalent of coffee they serve or whatever beverages they serve.
Yeah.
What do you think? So I'm thinking down market, and due to a lack of renovations, becoming increasingly down market. Does that float with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
okay. Um, okay, cool. Well, there's a space for it in the station layout if anyone feels like shopping for a picture.
Cool.
I guess that means we should cut to that scene, right? So if I recall correctly, we had Cash trying to push Blue and Cassius kind of out the door.
Yep.
And we had Hemlock entering, and then we had Kala just coming out of the restrooms. So a real clusterfuck.
I think at this point, seeing Hemlock come in, seeing Kala come out of the bathroom, seeing the two star-crossed lovers walk in, I'm going to do some quick mental math and realize I'm unarmed and this situation is about to be fucked. So I would like to grab Cassius and Blue and make a problem worse by running from it.
That'll be worse.
How does that make it worse? Like, because Kala will escalate, or because she'll
Well,
chase, or
Kala and I were just talking.
Yeah.
But now that, because Kala was looking for Cassius and Blue, and I was stalling. And now Cassius and Blue are here, as is, Hemlock. And, well, I can't imagine that Kala would be too pleased to have actual visual proof that I was lying to her, even though, Kala knew I was lying to her.
Okay.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah. Mark, do you want to be Kala for this?
Sure. And so let's see. She's kind of a badass bounty hunter type, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what it says
Certainly
here.
a badass. And Puckett is like Cash grabbing the two and like squeezing or like getting past Hemlock to escape, or is she trying to protect him in some way?
I'm pushing them out the door first,
okay.
so that if bullets start flying, I am more likely to get hit than they are.
Or Hemlock.
Look, like I said, I'm pushing them out the door first. Hemlock and I are still inside. I mean, if bullets start flying, yes, Hemlock could get hit, but I also could get hit. So in my mind, that is a noble thing because I'm exposing myself to danger by trying to keep them safer.
Sure.
It just so happens that Hemlock happens to be standing there, and if bullets start flying, might also get hit.
So yeah, I mean, Hemlock kind of stands aside and lets these two get pushed out the door, and looks over at Kala and says, "Hey, what's going on?"
She is looking past Hemlock and she says, to Cash, where have you been keeping them?
I am already out the door and running.
And I think, maybe Kala is like looking at this trio, and I just step to take up the rest of the door, like breaking her line of sight. Coffee?
If you'll move out of my way, I'll carry on with my business.
See, those two I don't know anything about, but Cash is my friend, so no, your business is off the table right now.
Well, she doesn't really seem to consider you a friend.
Well, Cash is funny that way. I'm funny that way.
Yeah, you're very funny. Sure, let's have coffee. They're not going anywhere.
No, I'm sure. So, so is this a cantina scene, in which case we should decide who's going to shoot first, or?
Oh, I'm assuming Hemlock will shoot first. I mean, he already did in one way,
Yeah,
in kind of a significant way.
yeah, um, but I don't like, unless, like, if she gets up and leaves, he won't have any compunction about shooting her in the back. But if they're sitting down to coffee, that's different.
Okay, fair enough. Quick question: has the nuke already gone off? I can't remember now.
Yeah, the nuke went off.
Yeah, so I think, like, the way we described it,
I got it frozen.
Kala noticed the lights flickering or something happening on the station. There were
some vibrations and yeah.
And came out to, like, what the fuck.
Okay, and then these were running off.
Yeah.
A tired-looking server comes up to both of you and says, "What are you having?"
I mean, I'm guessing you don't have Camborne sherry, right?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, well,
look, we got mud, we got noodles. We can put some synth milk in it for you if you want. We've got sugar that you can put in it. If you want to have like something like tea, we got that. I don't know. You want a pastry of some kind? We got like a couple of muffins left, I think.
Just coffee.
Yeah, mud with lots of sugar.
All right. You want your mud sugared and milked or just mud?
Just mud.
Well, you just said lots of sugar.
You said lots of milk. And I said, just mud, not milk, but lots of sugar, right?
Kala, the server looks at you and says, "You just want mud, nothing else?"
No, nothing else.
Be right back.
What
This
happened to
place,
this?
this place used to be good.
What happened to the station?
I mean, I just got here. The station has always been a bit run down. And this cafe used to be good, but I think the owner gave up. The servers don't give a shit. Yeah, such is life.
All right. That's fine. You know why I'm here. I'm after Blue and Cassius.
Yeah, okay. I did not know
And I
that's
was
what
very
their names
close.
were.
Hmm. It is their names. They need to be brought back to the Republic. That's the only way they can be safe now.
Oh, well, one of them looked kind of hosty, right?
Yeah. They'll be safe with the Republic.
Defector?
Why are you...
No,
You
no,
don't have a dog in this
I don't.
fight.
Um, yeah, I don't have a dog in this fight. But you see, if you go after them, you're going after my friend. That's not going to happen.
So I don't care about your friend. Your friend just needs to stand aside. Although, you might find it interesting that your friend apparently has something that sounds very valuable.
What's that?
They haven't told you?
I'm interested what you think they have that's valuable to
It's that way, is it? All right.
me. Is it? And I'm turning around and I'm pointing at a yet unseen news screen of the external of what's going on outside the station. Is it about that? Is it something to do with that, Kala? Because I
And
don't
just the
think
news.
that's valuable anymore.
So the news screen is displaying the destroyed ship and so forth. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Um, she looks at it at the screen and says, "That is an added complication." Hmm. I imagine you had nothing to do with that.
I mean, that seems a bit rash for me, right? But say I was working for the Republic and a host ship got blown up right outside where I was doing some secret missions for their avowed enemies. I would feel like I would be number one on their shit list in terms of people to blame. So if I were you, I would just get the fuck out of Dodge, Kala. That's my friendly advice to you.
She squints at you, and you can see the gears turning. Um, are you doing a move here, Donna? Take someone out?
Um,
I mean,
uh,
make someone an accessory to your mission?
that's kind of, yeah. I was just getting through my list of that one. Uh, make someone an accessory to your mission. Yeah, I mean, I prefer not to kill Kala right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, this seems like maybe maybe the gears turning are two things in her mind. One is obviously as the kind of special forces or whatever her mission is with those goons for the Republic. She knows she is top of the list. Um, the other gear that or the lever I am pulling is that if she flees, then that kind of confirms it, right?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Meta level, has Kala picked a side?
Well, she is working for the Republic.
Okay.
As far as I recall.
Yeah.
So is that a temporary job, or is she actually allied with the Republic?
So the wording is currently working for the Republic, which seems like just doing a job here. Thank you very much. Right.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I'm open to make someone an accessory to your mission going a slightly different way if you've got an idea, Puppet.
Well, I'm looking at the interstellar war aspect, because what just happened outside with the warship is very much something to do with the interstellar war. And if Kala is temporarily working for the Republic, I'd like to see Kala be forced to pick a side here, even more than Kala already has. Because that's one of the moves that the interstellar war can bring forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you can see station security kind of has increased. You can see more security walking around, and even and outside the cafe, you can hear them talking. And it's quite obvious that they're looking to speak with people who have recently arrived on the station, which would include Kala.
So, do you think we can make these two moves work together, or?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. So I think maybe what I do is I reach across the table and put my hand on Kala's, and we do this thing which we've seen before, only kind of tangentially, where the Camborn shapeshift, and we both like change appearance into like two regular humans, right? Almost in tandem. Like there's no words. It's just like we're doing this now. I'm gonna help you. Um, do you think that satisfies both of those moves?
Not sure that it satisfies Kala being forced to pick a side, but it's certainly moving in that direction. And as long as that gets satisfied at some point, I mean, if Kala is accepting this help and starting to go undercover to work with you, that certainly is a huge step in that direction. So I'd say yeah, but that's kind of dependent on how Kala reacts to what you did.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that fair?
yeah. I guess we maybe yeah. This is the push, and we'll see whether she goes with it or pushes back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Cool. So, Puckett, do you want to do a scene with cash only? A major scene getting these folks out of Dodge, or like a minor scene to look at something normal, or what think is most interesting here?
I feel like that this is time for a major scene. And Right, I so hate to do this because you're so kind and everything like that, but I got to bring trouble to your doorstep.
Let's not forget Glup Shitto, right? but,
Well, I don't know about Glup Shitto. Which honestly, is a mercy for my character, and that mercy will soon end. So I come rushing in and shove them in front of me, close the door behind me, and slap the bar down. Make sure, that barrier to make sure the door stays closed. Hey, Rye, I need to get these two off the station immediately. When's the next ship out? Don't care who's it. They got to get out of here now.
Yeah. So Rye says, I was just looking for you. And then she glances over at a booth where there is this human woman with the short stubbly hair, very put together. And she says, allow me to introduce myself introduce you to an old friend of mine. This is Glup Shido. Glup's the best smuggler in this sector.
Wait. The Glupshido?
That's right.
Glupshido, the biggest supplier of that wine that Hemlock drinks all the time.
Yes, that's the one. And Glup makes her way over to
I feel like Dunna has to
Cash.
step in and play Glupshido.
Sure. I mean, Mark is just regretting choosing that name, right? But we're gonna make him pay.
Look, everybody pays in the end.
Yeah.
I'll go over and say, so, heard about your ship. Fast.
Well, they don't pay me for slow.
Is it true that you outran 3 host cruisers?
I'll refer you to my legal advice, and I know nothing about any such incident.
So is that a yes, or like silence is yes. Son of a bitch. So these two. They have names and they have papers, but I need you to not care about either and get them somewhere far away from here. As far away from this fucking war as you can. Some remote planet, someplace, farming. I don't care where. I don't need to know. And I need you to forget wherever you put them.
Okay. I mean, usually, Cash, people say that this station is as far away from the war as you can get. So, I mean,
Unfortunately for these two, this is where everybody is thinking that they are. So I need them to not be here and to be somewhere where pretty much nobody will think about them. The backwateriest backwater you can find.
okay.
And in return for that, I owe you a favor. And I don't say that lightly.
Okay.
I don't like owing people.
Well,
And this is a big one.
yeah, I don't like paying docking fees. So that's not going to happen on this station anymore, right?
Done. Do you want your ship to have no record of docking here as well? How much of a ghost do you want to be here?
I just don't want to pay.
That's easy. And I pull out a communicator and punch a few things in, say, done. And I will use that token to call in a timely favor from a prominent client. You know, I don't know what the hell Lorado got himself into that he needed so many big favors from me, but you know, that's a question for another day. But you know, I'll look at Glup and say, no docking fees. Your ship will be refueled every time you visit here. Full up, not some half-assed bullshit. You say you don't care about docking registration and things like that, so I didn't mess with that. But every system on your ship that can be refilled will be. So, you know, if you're running short on food, you don't have to worry about it because your matter replicator will be filled up. And one more thing. I pull out just this nondescript looking card and I swipe it through my communications device and say, there you go. This is valid at any food stall in the station. It'll cover whatever expense you need. It all gets billed to the station administrator. So
sweet. Sorry, Rye, I
but
won't be eating here free as much as I used to.
well, I mean, you can swipe that card and pay, and it'll be free for you, but Rye will get paid. So
Yeah, I like the sounds of that. That's the way to go.
Well, let's have a drink on the administrator then. Huh?
Rye, make it that one. And I point to a very old, dusty bottle on the top shelf that you never opened because it's just too outlandishly expensive to serve.
Are you sure?
Hey, with what I helped Lorado out of, he's not going to say a word.
And she pours out 3 or 5, whatever, because these kids are here, I guess. And she says, "Cash, perhaps a toast."
I raise a glass and say, to free stuff and vanishing forever.
I'll drink to that. So, if this pair are hot, do you want to like take care of getting them onto the ship unseen, or are we able to?
I'll whistle, and suddenly, out of one, you see an air duct above the bar, and suddenly there's a face staring at you out of it, and say, "That's Rat. Where are you? Which dock are you in? Which berth?
17A.
Rat, get these two over there, unseen." And you'll just see the grate slide up, and Rat says, "If you'll follow me, please." I'm curious. How do Blue and Cassius seem to be reacting to Rat's sudden appearance and instructions to follow them? Or did that liquor kind of take the edge off and they're super mellow about everything?
What do you think, Mark? Have they had quite the day and nothing could surprise them anymore, or are they still a bit jumpy?
I think it's still a bit jumpy. I would think.
So are they hesitant to get into the duct? And Rye, how do you feel about them having to climb up your liquor shelves?
Well, it's not great, but I guess, I think that she asks um Lalo to bring over a ladder. And so they climb the ladder up to the air duct
Gotcha.
and get in. But yeah, I think everybody goes along with the plan there.
Okay.
I mean, who wouldn't want to follow a guy named Rat through the air ducts? What could possibly go wrong? Nothing.
Yeah, the air ducts of a falling apart, increasingly decrepit and decaying space station.
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
I'll just look at them as they're climbing and say, hey, good luck, you two. Go be happy somewhere. And then Rye will look at you and say, maybe one more for the road?
She says, hey, as long as I'm not buying.
No, it's definitely Lorado paying for it. He kind of just start laughing. It's like, yeah, he'll pay. And I'll lean in conspiratorially and say, spoiler alert, his name's not Lorado.
Well, I'll drink to whoever he is.
To whoever he is. And you'll see like the corners of my mouth turn up in a smile because I know who he is. But that's valuable information.
I think Glop will take the second drink into a hip flask, with the I've got to fly in like 20 minutes, so I will.
Sooner than that, Rat's fast. They'll probably have them there in 10.
Well, you'll just have to get used to waiting for an extra few minutes then.
And here I thought you were fast. And you can see a grin on my face, like I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of shit.
Well,
Just
they're not paying
teasing.
you for slow. But apparently they're not really paying me at all. I'm just like in credit for the rest of my life.
You basically, your time on this station, anytime you dock here is free. So, that's payment. Alternately, I could, if you've got a rival or somebody like that you want to have tied up with, overdue dock fees or whatever, kind of screw with them a little bit, might be able to help there too.
Yeah, but I gotta bust these people to God knows where first, and next time I'll shit on my friendly rivals.
Is that where you got your last name? Shitting on your
Shitting
friendly
on them?
rivals?
Yeah. That's what they get for going in the slow lane.
Well, I'll give you, only isn't my real name either, so I kind of understand where you're coming from.
Okay, well, you ladies take it easy. We'll see you next time.
Take care, Glup. We'll see you soon.
And I'll look at you, Ryan, and say, well, this has been a really eventful day, hasn't it?
It's been a lot. I just hope that disruption to the station, the kind of like the amp or whatever it was that happened, didn't shake anything loose too much. There are parts of the ship we don't see very often. Who knows what's going to get knocked loose down there? Cheers.
Right. Why do you persist in inviting trouble? And I'll drink up. And, unless there's anything else you want to do in it. Is that scene?
Just like it.
Seems like scene. Do we want to take our first break?
Good
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so we're back. I guess the star-crossed lovers, maybe we see, hidden in a smuggling containment field on board Glop's ship as they exit from the station forever to some quiet mining slash farming slash who knows what planet on the edge of nowhere. Does anyone have Does anyone have a scene or a question or I guess a temperature check that they want to take on the station?
Calla and Hemlock are still in that cafe.
Yeah. So I think this might be a minor scene. Maybe we have waited till the heat from station security, or maybe station security come in and look around and see just two normal humans and then walk out, and then the server comes back and looks confused. And we just grab the mud off him because those are not the people who ordered this mud, but he doesn't care. And then I think maybe we're gonna walk deeper into the station and maybe talk. I wonder do we think we end up in the hydroponics, or we take a turn down below?
Regardless of where you go, you notice that in Calla or Hemlock, this is something you'll notice more than Calla, most likely. The station's lights are flickering more than normal. It's clear there's clearly something electrical that's being or has been affected. There's even parts of the station where you can see the lights blink out. As you're walking down a hallway, you see a cross hallway and the lights just cut out completely for a couple few seconds and then kind of flicker back on. And that's not normal.
Yeah, so I wonder if we stop at one of these burning braziers, and kind of maybe that's where people congregate when there's weirdness going on, because it's never quite as weird as even though if you think about it, they're definitely weird, but it's not quite as weird as the rest of the station with the garbled warning messages and the crystal growths and all that kind of stuff.
Oh God. I'm sorry, I thought I had myself muted. So we're saying Calla and Hemlock still in conversation here as they go down into this area.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a quote unquote normal conversation. So I think Hemlock says something like, have you been home recently? Or, something very ordinary, but not the kind of thing anyone who knows Hemlock would usually think of,
Okay, cool. And Calla says, I try not to go back. And you?
No. I mean,
There's nothing for people like us there anymore.
well, I'm starting to think the rest of the universe is pretty much the same.
She just ponders that for a moment, I think, and then nods a little bit. Maybe you're right.
I'm doing a lot of gardening here.
Well, this is your work, huh?
Yeah, hydroponics. Need I don't know. They need someone.
What are you growing?
Whatever. I'm fond of those tomatoes.
She bends over and is having a look at them. You seem pretty handy. Have a green thumb.
I mean, people tend not to notice they're gardeners, right?
It's true.
You hear a groaning sound through what it seems to be everywhere in the structure of the station itself, like metal stressing.
I don't like that.
You're muted, Mark.
Cal looks around and says, should I be worried about this?
The lights flicker out for a few seconds longer and then slowly flicker back on, but only about half of the lights.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back up to the main promenade. It's a bit odd down here. I don't like it.
Okay. Where are you staying?
I have a berth in in one of the bins.
Like your official Republic bin, or you're not telling anyone where I am bin?
Yeah, my laying low bin.
Okay. Well, I guess you know where to find me.
You'd better hope I find those kids.
You're not going to find those kids.
The lights go out completely. And after a few moments, you start seeing station emergency lights flicker on and klaxons start blaring.
Kala just doesn't say anything else and just starts making back her way back the way you came.
Okay. I'm going to make my way back to the whiskey. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Does that satisfy what we were looking for with that scene there?
Yeah, I think so. Mark, how about you? Do you wanna
Well,
get
do
us
we want to
started with
read this?
Rye or take the
Yeah, do
topic
we want to
first?
read the station here
Oh
and
yeah.
see how folks are feeling about the whatever's happening? So how does read the station work again?
So we decide the topic under discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess first of all, we're stepping out of our character's role to portray different groups' attitudes and feelings concerning a particular issue. We decide the topic under discussion. I think that's fairly obvious what we're kind of talking about. Like, what the fuck is going on with the station?
Yep.
And then we go around the table, taking turns weighing in on the topic, either as a class of residents like the smugglers, or an established group like the Red Sun Galactic, or you know, maybe even a bunch of established NPCs.
Okay.
Um, so opinions and beliefs, not necessarily facts, or not even facts. Doesn't have to settle on a unified position. Communities are messy and contain multitudes. So I'm not sure, Mark, if you want to lead out or what
Sure,
way
I'll
it
kick us
works.
off here. If I'm not muted, I'll kick us off. Okay, great. So I think that we see um we get a view of the Orchard Syndicate um in their digs, and it is one of the lieutenants of the organization, and he has a bunch of younger kind of roughs in there with him, and he is in the process of giving them the lowdown about how we're going to proceed. And he says, so we're going to take advantage of this. Obviously, any authorities are going to be extremely busy with whatever the hell is going on here. Everything seems like it's on emergency backup, so this is the time to strike. We're going to settle some debts. We're going to make some cash, and we're going to make the Yaddle family pay. So I want you out there. I want you bashing heads. I want you making bank. And you bring everything back to me, and you'll get your share. And I think that everybody's ready to go out and take advantage of this emergency situation that they're under right now with the Orchard Syndicate. Is that how this is supposed to sort of play out, this kind of thing? Am I doing it right?
I think you're doing it fine. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, they have an opinion about what's going on with the station, and that is,
Yeah.
what schmucks may see as dangerous, they see as an opportunity, right?
That's right.
Puckett, do you have any ideas, or do you want me to go next?
I'm still percolating, so if you could go next, I would
Okay.
appreciate it.
I think I think it might be time to bring in the Lambent strand, the weave, the current, and I think we see like a small group of, I mean, I don't want to call them monks or priests, but like, people who place the Lambent strand at the center of their lives, um, and they adherents, yeah, not cultists. um, and they are kind of, over their morning tea, discussing how they're feeling, how it feels to them now walking through the station, and not about the people being worried, but like about the vibe on the station, the vibe of the station. And like one of them says, I think it's waking up. And I think that gets a look, you know. And then like one of them says, "Oh, but the crystals are different now." Like that's what I notice. And they have no like opinion or thoughts or plan on what to do about that. It's just like they're on a different wavelength to most other people. In fairness, they didn't say it wasn't a cult. I just said not cultists. So, yeah.
So I think in the main control room, you have Lorado yelling and pointing fingers everywhere, like, you get on that console. Because what isn't being announced is that there are life support system failures occurring. And they are starting to cascade. It's about to be, right now, it's largely a problem for maintenance and the station administration, but it's about to be everybody's problem in fairly short order. But Lorado and the station's staff are obviously incredibly worried because they too have come to the conclusion that there's something in unmapped parts of the station that is causing this, because they can't find any other explanation, not even the nuclear explosion that happened, because the shockwaves for that have passed. The EMP wouldn't be occurring now. It would have occurred at detonation. So this is obviously the cause of something else. Or rather the results of something else doing. Maybe the nuke woke it up. Maybe that's what happened. But Lorado and company are furiously trying to patch things and shunt things and make sure that the life support, the critical systems that the station depends on, are staying online. And it's not going real well.
Okay. Everything is going swimmingly. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, awesome. Puckett, do you have an idea for a scene?
I wonder, does Hemlock show up at the whiskey? And do you bring Kala if you do?
Well, I'm not sure whether we mean like immediately or a few days later.
I mean, life support systems are failing a few days later, but there might not be a few days later.
Yeah, I mean, probably not. Probably if life support is failing, then probably I'm doing a lot of hydroponics work. You know.
Okay.
So if you want to appear at a hydroponics bay to talk to Hemlock, then yeah.
Mark, what do you think? Could Rye be dragged out of the whiskey at this point?
Yeah, if maybe under the kind of I can't even think of a word, but yes, assuming that maybe we're trying to locate Hemlock.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think what prompted it is you saw my communicator light up, and you caught a glimpse of it, and you could see it's Lorado. And you hear me say, uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's happening here too. Okay. You owe me. And then I put it down. Say, why don't we go find our friend? I've just been given an offer that I can't refuse. I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm gonna need somebody who knows how to well, survive.
Boy, that sounds like something I'm really interested in doing. But I'll go
Surviving?
with you. Yes. So let's go.
Yeah. When you get to the hydroponics, I'm like, I call over to you and say, I need your services.
Okay.
We
Uh-huh.
well, I say we. I got an offer from Lorado that I can't turn down, which is finding out what the hell is going on down below that's causing this. Lorado thinks maybe that explosion woke it up or caused it. Or, I mean, I hate to say wake it up, because that's what the weird lambent, whatever they call themselves, call it. But sure seems like something has occurred, which is causing this weirdness. And Lorado says it's getting worse. And it's going to be affecting life support on a broader scale soon. So we can die fixing this, or we can die doing nothing. Or we could maybe live if we fix it.
I'd prefer option 3.
As would I, because otherwise, compensation doesn't mean shit. But I can't pay you directly, but Lorado will owe you a favor.
Okay, well, I can get a survey from down below, no problem.
Yep.
And maybe we can have a look down there.
Rye, look over to you and say, last chance. You want out or you want in?
Let's go. I did
Clap my
bring
hands together and say,
snacks.
that's snacks.
Yes.
Remind me to invite you along on stuff like this more often, will you?
Yeah. Totally. That's a great idea.
The heart carries, an array of snacks.
I look at Hemlock, I look at you and say, I don't know about you, but I'm not used to snacks when I'm doing jobs like this.
Yeah, me neither.
And I think that's probably the end of that. Just the three of us getting in an elevator and heading down there.
So yeah, I guess poking around. Can we assume we are sticking together or splitting up, or what do we think is the best thing here?
I'd say sticking together.
I mean, I know that Hemlock knows how to handle themselves. So, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the reason I came to you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely sticking together.
So I wonder if I'm just trying to do a callback to something, maybe in terms of what Rye has heard about, the rumors that Rye has heard about Hemlock that they denied, mucking around with crystals. Um,
That's totally right.
yeah. Um, I wonder if, like when we pass like a junction or like a passageway which has crystals on it and like it kind of lights up and it's like, oh, like that's odd. But then later on maybe you notice that it really only happens when Hemlock passes them for whatever reason. We're like slightly out of sync and Hemlock passes them, they light up, and then when you pass them they don't. um, and I think um, after we go a little bit deeper, I think Hemlock is gonna like get a message, like he's gonna look at his like tablet, like he got a message on that, but it's blank. He's getting like a one of those garbled messages that we all get from every so often, but it's in like clear for him right now, and
Ooh.
it's telling him he shouldn't be down here.
There's one other weird thing that happens that I don't think Hemlock would notice, but the crystals, which are supposed to be solid, actually seem to slightly angle themselves in Hemlock's direction as Hemlock passes.
Like like if Hemlock is before you and like he's waiting for you and like they're starting to almost spread like a pool to touch their foot, like
My
I think
question is, why shouldn't Hemlock be down here? What about Hemlock is making this part of the station say GTFO?
I have two thoughts. One is that Hemlock is in their like wakeful self, and only their sleeping self comes down here and does weird shit with the crystals.
mm,
Like that kind of reflection thing uh, means that they come down here when they should be asleep to do weird shit. And
And
that's,
Mark, you'd started to say, oh, sorry, Donna.
yeah, I'm saying, and this is not the Hemlock who should be down here. It should be the other guy.
And then Mark, I think you started to say something.
no, I was just there was nothing. I wonder if it's somehow related to the fact that they see, yeah, or maybe they see Hemlock um, as paying too much attention to to the organic aspect of the station in working with the community gardens and the hydroponics, when jealously they want him to be paying attention to the crystalline growths.
They should be
Jealous
cultivating.
crystals.
Yeah, cultivate me, damn it, say the crystals.
We need care.
um, yeah, yeah. I wonder if Hemlock kind of kneels down. He notices this maybe he steps out of this pooling of the crystals that they haven't noticed and like kneels down and like looks, and then I think we see um, this memento of home, like this kind of small um, ball on a necklace kind of fall out from their top and like dangle close to the crystals, and like maybe there's definitely something happening here, like some kind of osmosis, or maybe the crystals are really reaching for this thing, this memento.
Since one of the station moves is dramatically reshape the environment, the physical environment, as that happens, suddenly crystal growth behind us occurs at an exponential rate. And within seconds, there is a thick crystalline wall that we cannot see through behind us.
So behind the three of us, leaving us together, or like splitting us off from each other?
No, we're together,
Okay.
but we're stuck down here. And it looks pretty impenetrable. You can't see through it. You can't hear anything on the other side. It's also like pink crystal, like almost like a rose quartz. Under other circumstances, this would be really pretty. Under these circumstances, it's ominous and it cuts us off from the remainder of the station.
I think that at this point, um, sorry, Rye looks at Hemlock and says, "Thought you said you didn't do anything with the crystals." And she can see that they're kind of this pool of them is kind of reaching out toward you.
Yeah, I don't. Is that not happening for you as well?
She kind of goes through the motions and nothing happens with the crystals. See? What have you
They
been
like
doing?
you.
Well, I've got two ideas. One is we'll find a different route, which might mean going deeper. Or the other one is I can find a way through that wall.
Can you just shut? Can you just shut? Can you just make that wall disappear?
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of walk up to that crystal wall, the new crystal wall of kind of pink quartz, and put my hand up against it. And I'm like tuning into it. I'm gonna spend a token to use my training to do something good for once. But I mean, this is like shape shifting, and I'm not sure if either of you have seen Hemlock do that for sure before. But they start to slowly change into this pink crystal thing, roughly Hemlock shaped.
Uh, Rye looks at Cash, dead in the eye, and says, what's happening with him?
I was kind of hoping you knew. Hemlock, you know I don't ask many questions, but what the hell, dude?
So this, I don't know, crystal thing turns around, and I think the crystal wall starts to open, and it just like spreads. All this pink crystal spreads over the wall, and in your brains you hear. It's not Hemlock's voice. It's the voice, the garbled warning message voice that's kind of comes up every so often, but it's got something about it that sounds Hemlocky. Um, there you go.
Has Hemlock created a passageway through for us?
Yeah, so he's like created a gap in the wall for for you to escape. Let's call it through.
So Rye approaches cautiously and is kind of eyeballing the entire thing and the part that is her former friend and that is her friend, but is now apparently some crystals, and squeezes through the gap to the other side. She says, "Hurry, Cash, hurry! It's okay to come through."
I look at Hemlock and say, are you going to be okay? I'll stay if you need backup.
And I think the warning message goes like, "You have 30 seconds to reach minimum safe distance," or something like that.
Oh man.
I will nod and hug that giant mass of crystals that Hemlock became. And then I'm going to run like hell.
I think you have 30 seconds to reach minimum safe distance is like the option in the warning messages that seemed closest to just get the fuck out of here now, won't you?
And I say to Rye, I don't know if you heard I don't know if you heard that message, but Hemlock says 30 seconds to minimum safe distance. We got to go.
And so she starts running and asks, "How far is minimum safe distance?" She's running.
I guess we'll know in like 25, 20, like 15 seconds, maybe 10. Just run.
And she's Riot's just running as fast as she can back up to away from this bad area.
Um, I wonder, like before we close the scene, I wonder, like when you get back into the normal part of the station, like does this surge of um, crystal activity mean that even more power is being drawn from the station or less? Is this like the crystal doing something and not doing the other thing, or is this just like ramped up?
What do you think, Mark?
I don't know. Maybe they're using more power. Maybe they've expanded in some way and they are drawing an increased amount of power from the station, the crystals, as they become more active.
So to build on what you're saying there, um, I think when we get back to like the part of the station that's more normally populated, I mean, all I can think of is that you and I'd be heading back to the whiskey. And as we start getting into that area, we realize that pretty much everyone on the station is gathered in this area. And we can see that warning lights are out in other places. Like this appears to be the only place that has a light. And, we're probably hearing like overhead messages like life support functions ceased on deck 12.
Oh,
Life support functions ceased on deck 11. And it's just this running list of where on the station is not currently habitable for anything requiring oxygen or a stable temperature. Like Lorado and company routed everything here to provide perhaps one last area where people could survive whatever the hell was going on.
I like that. That's awesome.
I mean, I think Rye should host a sit down between Lorado and the crystal thing, right?
Yeah, totally. Let's bring those adversaries together over a shared meal of whatever they each might consume.
Now, what does a crystal eat?
Ice cubes, I don't know.
It's a crystal.
Ooh.
Because a crystal grows.
Bespoke ice. An entirely new business line for Rye.
Snowflakes, you know.
I mean, I'm all about the idea of like Rye hosting a sit down between the crystals and Lorado.
Yeah, totally. That was a great idea.
I was just looking at,
Yeah, my moves.
Rye's strong moves.
Yeah. Got one to spend here.
Well, do we want to build up to that? Maybe it's an idea to have some other scenes to kind of prep for that. What do you think?
Sure.
What else do you think might happen that would prompt Lorado to think that the crystals are sentient and can be negotiated with?
As I recall, there is maybe I'm confusing some different games here, but doesn't Rise establishment have it's a software ghost. That's what it is.
But the software ghost was like from before, right? Is
Yeah.
there an indication that it's from, before us
Before,
people were
before?
bored? Yeah,
Yes.
before.
I think maybe the software ghost is communicating in some way with the crystals. And is then telling Rye or communicating with Rye in some way that the crystals need to speak with the leader of those on board the station, which I think Rye automatically thinks is Cash, who seems to actually be running the entire business.
I mean, it's not inaccurate.
No, it's not. So she communicates this, I think, to Cash and Hemlock.
Can I remember something which may or may not feed into this? One of Lorato's directives that we decided was to prepare for the return of the Masters.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry, the Makers, not the Masters.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, maybe that's less scary. I don't know. More scary. Um, so I don't know how that kind of colors or flavors our upcoming scene.
I mean, if the crystals aren't the makers, what are they? So, I mean, to me, it seems, I mean, particularly considering we've got about an hour left or so, it seems totally logical to have had Lorado kind of prepping the lower decks for something like this, which is why there's not a lot of people down there to begin with. Perhaps why Hemlock was tending to the crystals unconsciously or subconsciously or in Hemlock's sleep. Um, that there's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of things that lines up with. And if we don't take it in that direction, then we have a whole lot of questions to ask and answer. So to me, it makes sense that the crystals are the makers.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well play it that way.
Yeah, there's some kind of previously dormant intelligence or being down here, and return is like wake up, right?
Yes.
I
Okay.
mean, we do use data crystals, so it's not unthinkable that these crystals could very well be sentient and intelligent in some way that we have not previously recognized.
And I think that actually the crystals were being suppressed by a device on board the ship that was installed after another species took over the station.
Did the
And
EMP knock that out?
yeah, exactly. And so then the crystals kind of like were able to um, get their shit together and begin to communicate.
Okay. So, do you want to take a quick break and let this percolate, and then come back and jump in?
Sounds
Makes
good.
sense to me.
Okay. Okay, we're back. So I don't know. What do we think? Do we want to cut to this negotiation at whiskey, or what do people feel like?
Well, do we have any ideas for any other scenes and or things that we want to do? Do you have any ideas for scenes that you would like to see play out, Donna?
I don't think so. I mean, I wonder, like, maybe we have some flavor scenes of how people are preparing for the worst, or maybe there's some evacuation going on, or people settling up their tabs or not settling up their tabs, or you know stuff like that.
That sounds cool. And Pocket?
Um, honestly, I've had, I feel like, enough scenes. I kind of like to see what happens with this negotiation. I mean, Cash has done, I think Cash has pretty much done everything Cash can do reasonably, besides possibly act as a mediator. Um, but I feel like I've had a lot of screen time, so I'd kind of like to see one of you take on the Rado and the other take on the crystals and negotiate that scene.
Well, so Donna, should we do some flavor scenes then before we cut to that?
Yeah, maybe set the scene in whiskey, and then we have our players in that negotiation sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like maybe it would be a good chance to see Lalo and Rai clash one last time over, seating arrangements or something stupid.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Yes.
Um, what do you think? Will I play Lalo?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Lalo wants. I think like the booth. Lalo thinks that the booths are not like sufficiently um, momentous for this kind of event, right? Um, and maybe like something like maybe there's like a poker table equivalent in the back room that might be good for a sit down.
Um, I think that so Rai says, I mean, I guess we could do poker table. Do we have anything do we have anything nice to put over it? It's like a nice some kind of cloth.
Vase. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay. We've got something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I don't know that these chairs are going to be comfortable enough compared to a booth. I think they'd be more comfortable in a booth. And the booths are, they're very cushiony.
Yeah. Is it like a classic like two benches at the booth, or is it more like an almost circle of benches?
Ooh. Yeah, I think I was just thinking it was a classic too, but um maybe there's a special one
Yeah,
that's
so
almost a
so maybe
circle.
like all the boots we've seen so far are like these double-sided. And
Yeah.
Lalo says, well, if there's a third party in the negotiations, they can't like sit on one side or the other, so we need to like open like unlock the section of the whiskey that we never unlock because it has people fighting over who gets to sit there.
Yeah, right. And yeah, we don't want to make it adversarial. I mean, more so than it already is. So maybe some kind of circular table, a round table
Yeah.
would be a good approach to kind of get around that. But we're not changing the food. They could just eat the snacks that we have
Okay.
and they'll
And
drink what we
Lalo's a
have.
little bit deflated with that, obviously, because this was his chance to do his, I don't know, peach melba.
Peach Melba. Oh, that's
It'll
awesome.
just have to be pork rinds, or whatever the whiskey equivalent is.
They just call them beast rinds. They don't specify what animal it
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
from.
yeah. It's like when you go to the kebab shop in the middle of the night, like after, um, in the wee hours of the morning, and you get the meat special. Just don't ask.
What is this?
Don't ask. Yeah.
I'm just, cutting it off here. The big rotisserie. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
What does it taste like? That's what it
I
is.
mean, can you trust anything that you eat at 2 a.m.?
I would say the answer to that depends on how much you've had to drink.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you have to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Interstitial comic,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
Okay, cool. Um, so do we So Mark, you kind of mentioned the what's his face? I've forgotten his name. Squill, the old admin system. Do we think that
Yes.
Squill is like speaking for the crystals, or do you think it's something else? Do you think like there's a
Hmm.
if I want to push an idea out there that is a little bit crazy, do you think that the crystal hemlock walks out and is
See,
the envoy?
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
That's honestly what I'd love to see.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Um, so Puckett, do you want to be Lorato then?
Um, like I said, I feel like I've had enough screen time. Mark, do you want to be Lorado?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
I mean,
would rather
I could
not.
act as a mediator on those on if necessary, but
Yeah, I was just wondering if Rye is going to be like the mediary because I think we should
that
see
it is the
Rye do
whiskey.
something
That
awesome.
is, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Would you
I
like
can
would
play
you
Lorado to give Rye a chance to do something awesome.
Oh, I don't know if you want to do that, but yes, I think that um she will be bringing adversaries together over a shared meal. Uh, I mean, at least we know Hemlock eats some foodstuffs that, Hey, have we ever seen Hemlock eat?
Um, I mean, obviously they drink that sherry, right?
Yes, right.
Um, and I don't know, like, has anyone ever seen one of these shapeshifters eat? I mean, maybe.
Oh boy. This might be interesting then. Uh, so yeah, I think that I'm sorry, whose scene is this to frame anyway?
You should frame this. It's your place.
Sure. So I think that we see the whiskey has been set up with this circular booth, and it's kind of in the corner, but there are other folks from the station who have come in and are there to observe uh and see what happens. The the meal that Rye has put together concern it's a lot, there's a lot of snack kind of elements to it. It's a lot of that kind of like that kind of eating. Um and she has it set up at the table when the folks walk in and gets drinks for everyone and so forth. But there is a large crowd that's gathered, but they are being subdued when Lorado arrives.
Rye, thanks for this.
Yeah, well, you've drawn quite a crowd here. Is this Lorado speaking?
Yes, this is
Okay.
Lorado
Okay.
speaking.
Yeah, it's drawn quite a crowd. I'm sure they'll be thirsty after listening to a couple of politicians blather on for who knows how long.
I look at you and kind of have this very faint smile on my face and say, I hope the negotiations end with all of us having a drink. Because crystals don't need to breathe oxygen.
You put kind of a damper on the festivities, I guess, haven't you?
I
I
would not
think
call these festivities.
And did you say
Yeah,
Hemlock walks in, Donna?
I was about to say something and then I was about to sneeze, and I'm still about to sneeze.
Watch for it.
Yeah, it happened when I least expected.
crystals sneeze?
He's half crystal, half Camborne.
Yeah, well, so I think like there's like a hubbub, right? Like of the people near the whiskey as the crystal hemlock kind of steps out into the concourse and then like crosses it. And like I think you can see they're leaving little footprints of crystal behind them, right?
Sweet.
Um,
Are
and then
those
like
footprints of crystals spreading out, or like are they growing
uh,
outward or
I
moving or
don't,
anything?
yeah, I don't think so. I think they're like um, they're more like footprints than like new colonies or anything like that.
What sound does it make? Like, are these crystals that like break off as you step, or are they just kind of left behind, like they kind of shake off?
Yeah, I think they're more like shake off, like almost like spores left behind, as this thing walks across. But I think there is like a crunchiness to them, right? And they enter and kind of regard the gathered dignitaries, and then walks over to Rye.
Um, and I think that Rye is somewhat caught off guard, I guess, maybe by this particular kind of crystalline hemlock. Um, and she says, welcome, Hemlock, and your friends, and guides you over to a booth.
And they reply, and it's the same thing as before. It's the psychic warning channel in your head, right?
Yes.
Um, I see Lorato is already here.
And does this sound like Hemlock's voice? Just straight up Hemlock's voice, or does it have some kind of weird alteration?
I think it sounds like the voice that's always been in your head, though obviously now it's kind of tuned in and no longer garbled. But I think
Yeah,
like you recognize it as like it speaks like in terms of rhythm like Hemlock does.
very cool. Um, welcome. Yes, Lorato is here. Lorato's waiting for you. And she leads you over.
I will stand and say, should I still call you Hemlock, or would you like me to call you something else?
For the purposes of this discussion, I am the maker.
I see. May I ask what Hemlock's role was in this?
Well, most recently, he is a mobile vessel to partake in this physical negotiation. Less recently, he intervened to save some of his associates. And before that, he destroyed the device that kept us dormant.
So his involvement in this was intentional or just happenstance and proximity?
On our part, it was intentional.
I see. Well, as the station administrator, I have made sure that the lower decks remained clear for whatever purposes you might need. We were aware there were crystals down there, but we were not entirely aware that they were sentient. As you noted, there was some sort of device that was keeping you dormant. I'm not sure what it was, but I can tell you that we did not place it.
Lorato was one of your directives when you came aboard this station not to prepare for my return.
It was, and that's why we kept lower decks clear. We did not know what form you existed in, nor what form you would ultimately take. The information that I received was simply to prepare for your arrival. There were no other details. So we did the best we could. There are hydroponics, there are oxygen generators. We have kept people away from the space except for mapping it, and those maps are yours to do whatever you wish with. Otherwise, we left the lower decks of the station undisturbed to the extent that we don't even know how many there are. We did the best we could to intentionally create a space for whatever form you might return it. People were forbidden from building there, from living there, from venturing there, unless they were mapping. Without additional details, I'm not sure what else I could have done to prepare for your arrival.
So it's your intention that these people remain on this station, even though we have returned?
I would like to find a way for us to peacefully coexist with each other.
Mark, do you think Rye has a strong move to say the right thing, or throw
Yeah,
some of the
I mean,
pieces, or
so I've already brought them together over the shared meal. Um, but there are two subtle. Well, wait a sec. I think that leaves my last token though.
Okay.
So actually, I'm all out of tokens now, and I don't know that she wants to use a weak move here to complicate things. I don't think that she has any moves here yet that will resolve this. But does Hemlock still have a token?
Hemlock does still have a token.
There's always that. Use your training to do something good for one strong move.
Yeah. Just wondering what that would look like. Um, I mean, the other thing I'm wondering is maybe there's a piece of advanced military technology that would allow the two sides to coexist or provide power for the station or the crystal without impinging on the other.
It makes sense. I was just trying to think of something that
Yeah.
it might be.
Um,
Could it be some other form or another suppressive device like the one that was there in the first place? I mean, it doesn't. That's a little more aggressive than I would like.
that is a threat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe it's some kind of nanite swarm that could expand the station's lower decks or build more on or something like that to give the maker more space.
Yeah, how about this? So I think the kind of console in the booth that normally people use for making orders, right, Mark?
Yep.
Comes to life, and it's Kala on a handheld device deep in the station, and she has um, this box which is like a macro version of the thing that Hemlock and she wear around their necks,
Mm-hmm.
and like she's placed her communicator on like a shelf or attached to the wall to view this, and it like opens, and I think we can like hear this like resonance. Everyone on the station can hear this resonance kind of happen, and then we can kind of see. Remember when we established what the station looked like? It was this um, fractal architecture. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we can kind of see um, this unfinished old part of the station start to grow. Like new fractals made purely of crystal start to spout. Sprout? Sprout, I think, is the better word.
Yeah.
Spouting crystals would be a different thing altogether. Um, so I think that is the kind of maybe Lorato knows this is going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is like their their kind of suggestion for how the crystals no longer need to impede or impinge upon the rest of the residents.
And when that communication comes through, say, even now, we have people trying to make this space what you need. Once you appeared and we realized that your form was crystalline, we developed a device that would expand the lower decks and be made of crystal entirely. Even as we speak, crystals are growing outward in a fractal pattern. They're even following the golden ratio.
We accept your offer. we will ensure that the support systems your people need to survive are no longer broken, used, abused.
Obviously, we greatly appreciate that. Is there anything else that we can do to make your residence here more suitable for you, more enjoyable for you?
We advise that you cease and desist all survey operations in all areas of the station.
Of course. Our maps are yours, and they will be deleted from our mainframe. I will see to it personally. And we will seal elevator shafts and stairwells so that none of us intrude. And Lorado looks up and says, a little bit louder than necessary, we'll also be sealing the air ducts. And you see Rat's face poking out. Just like the grate isn't open or anything. You just see Rat's eyes kind of looking at it and then slowly receding into the darkness.
Awesome.
Such a killjoy. Okay. So yeah, I think the crystal hemlock stands up and kind of nods and walks out.
And Rye, you see Lorado all but collapse in the booth. Like the stress is finally leaving and you can see exhaustion setting in, and you can realize how long he's been running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
And honestly, probably some stims.
And she's on her way over with that very expensive bottle that he's been buying us drinks from.
Without
And
knowing it.
yes. And pours him a glass and pours herself a glass. And she raises her glass to him and she says, Lorado, you saved the station. And then she looks over at Cash, as if to indicate that, yeah, we know who runs the station. And then she drinks her drink.
And Lorado kind of looks up and manages a weak smile and says, I'm glad we're alive to drink this. Here's to staying that way. And knocks it back. And then he exhales and you realize he's not used to liquor that strong. He says, damn. What is that stuff?
And Rye just laughs in reply.
What do you think? Are we good with ending the scene there?
Yeah, I think so. I've just unticked the third threat.
But I really want to know what happened to Hemlock.
Well, so when we mark the last threat as a resolve, it's time to bring things to a close. To wrap up loose ends, play one more round. As with the first round, each player will narrate a minor scene. This time, demonstrate how your characters and their lives were changed by your story's events. If your character didn't survive, or you'd rather leave their fate a mystery, you can instead read the station, checking in with the community in the aftermath. So, yeah. Anyone have any immediate thoughts or want to go first?
I'll go first. So I like a series of just montages of images. If that's acceptable.
Or a scene where we kind of just see like everyday life, just like a minor scene before where we just get a slice of life. But if you want to do a montage instead,
Oh no,
that'll work.
that's cool. So yeah, so the minor scenes. So I think Rai has Rai is doing her normal stuff. They're keeping that special booth now open and available for people. Um, they are keeping people from fighting over it, which apparently was a problem in the past. And she is keeping herself busy by doing the things that she's used to doing, by trying to make people feel at home, by keeping everyone happily tipsy. And we see that she has inverted that very expensive bottle because it has been emptied. Apparently, someone drank the rest of that bottle that Lorado paid for. And she has made a consolation to, it's not the word I'm looking for, to Lalo, in that she has let Lalo add some kind of fine dessert known as a peach melba to the menu that's available. Yeah, we don't know who drank the rest of that cash. It certainly wasn't cash. Does that suffice?
Yeah, perfect. Puckett, how about you?
I think it's just business as usual for Cash. Sitting in that booth, probably doesn't even have the shotgun mount there anymore. Things feel a little more lighthearted in terms of the favors that she's being asked for and things that she's being asked to do. It's less of help, please hide me. I need a fake identity and get the hell out of here. And more of, listen, my neighbor and I are having a problem. They're playing music when I'm trying to sleep and they won't stop. Can you do something about that? And one day, without warning, that incredibly expensive bottle of booze that had been turned over has a twin next to it, which is full and sealed and not dusty. And I think that's good for Cash.
Yeah, I think we see Kala exiting the station on a normal passenger freighter, and we see like the security guard at whatever customs control there are, like give her kind of a glance, um, and we see him like wave her through, and then we see that that security guard turn up in like Lorado's command and control center, like clocking out essentially, and then I think we see him uh like touch this shape under his vest, which is the orb on a necklace, which kind of, for us as the viewers at least, betrays that this is in fact Hemlock. that is that. Yeah, so I think we can wrap up. We'll stop the recording. We'll do our debrief, and then yeah.